Thousands of civilians have already left Sirte, but many more are thought to have remained behind. Reporters on the city's outskirts says it's by far the biggest assault in recent days. Sustained tank and mortar fire has been targeting Sirte, and there are huge columns of smoke across the city, some 360 kilometers east of Tripoli, with many buildings struck and on fire, says our reporters. This appears to be the final push for Colonel Gaddafi's hometown, he adds, as the country has been unable to think about the future until Sirte falls. The interim authority troops are coming from both Misrata in the west and Benghazi in the east. The Benghazi forces are only 1 kilometer from the city center but have faced heavy resistance from the snipers inside the city. The Ouagadougou conference center, where many of Gaddafi loyalists are believed to have gathered, has become the focus of the artillery barrages. On Thursday, an NTC military commander, Colonel Abdel Salah Gadalla, said 3/4 of the city was in their hands. He said, "God willing, in 2 days maximum, all Sirte will be clean." The NTC troops have given civilians in Sirte the opportunity to leave, but there are fears that thousands have been unable to do so or believe warnings by pro-Gaddafi fighters that they would be attacked by the interim forces if they surrendered. Efforts to negotiate with loyalist commanders have also failed. The attack on Sirte came just hours after Colonel Gaddafi urged Libyans to take to the streets in their millions to resist the interim leaders. India launches Aakash tablet computer priced at $35. India has launched what it says is the world's cheapest touchscreen tablet computer, priced at just $35 apiece. Costing a fraction of Apple's iPad, the subsidized Aakash is aimed at students. It supports web browsing and video conferencing and has a 3-hour battery life and 2 USB ports, but questions remain over how it will perform. Officials hope the computer will give digital access to students in small towns and villages across India, which lags behind in its rivals in connectivity. At the launch, the Indian capital, Delhi Human Resource Development Minister Kapil Sibal handed out 500 Aakash, meaning sky, tablets to students who will test them. He said the government planned to buy 1 lakh of the tablets. It hopes to distribute 10 million of the devices to students over the next few years. The rich have access to the digital world, the poor and the ordinary have been excluded. Aakash will end the digital divide, Mr. Sibal said. Court frees actor Darshan on bail. Popular Kannada language film actor Darshan, arrested last month on charges of assaulting his wife, has been given bail by a court in southern India. Fans of the action hero celebrated a High Court order on Friday by distributing sweets. The actor was arrested on 9th September after his wife Vijayalakshmi accused him of domestic violence. But later she withdrew her complaint under pressure from the Kannada film industry, police said. When the local court refused to free him on bail, Darshan took his appeal to the High Court. The judge has ordered the actor and his wife to appear in court on 13th October. Police charged Darshan with attempted murder and criminal intimidation after his wife Vijayalakshmi accused him of beating her and threatening her with a gun. After his arrest, hundreds of the star's fans held protests in Bangalore, the capital of Karnataka. Police used canes, lathis, to disperse stone-throwing groups. Bin Laden death, CIA doctor accused of treason. A Pakistani commission investigating the US raid that killed Osama bin Laden says a doctor accused of helping CIA should be tried for high treason. Dr. Shakil Afridi is accused of running a CIA-sponsored fake vaccine program in Abbottabad, where bin Laden was killed, to try to get DNA samples. He was arrested shortly after 2nd May U.S. raid that killed the Al-Qaeda chief. The commission has been interviewing intelligence officials and on Wednesday spoke to bin Laden family members. Pakistan, which was deeply embarrassed by the raid that had described the covert U.S. Special Forces operation as a violation of its sovereignty. A government commission headed by a former Supreme Court judge has been charged with discovering how the U.S. military was able to carry out the raid deep within Pakistan without being detected. It's also investigating how bin Laden was able to hide in Abbottabad, a garrison town, for several years. We'll move to the business world. Toyota to export Made in India vehicles from 2012. Toyota's Indian joint venture says it plans to export cars to South Africa by March 2012. The announcement marks the first time Toyota Kirloskar will ship Indian-made cars overseas. It's increasing production to cope with the extra demand. 2 petrol-engine Etios models are involved, a combat hatchback, a larger sedan. Both cars are being redesigned for South Africa's climate, road conditions, and local tastes. Managing Director Hiroshi Nakagawa said the news was a defining moment for the partnership. Toyota Kirloskar makes 160,000 vehicles a year. It expects that to rise to 310,000 in 2013. The Bangalore-based business is 89% owned by Japan's Toyota Motor and 11% by India's Kirloskar Group. The firm's most recent figures reported a 105% rise in sales in September compared with the same month the previous year. A total of 12,807 vehicles were sold over the period. Welcome to the world of science. U.S. panel says no to prostate screening for healthy men. Healthy men should no longer receive a PSA blood test to screen for prostate cancer because the test does not save lives overall and often leads to more tests and treatments that needlessly cause pain, impotence, and incontinence in many, a key government health panel has decided. The draft recommendation by the United States Preventive Service Task Force and due for official release next week is based on the results of 5 well-controlled clinical trials and could substantially change the care given to men 50 and older. There are 44 million such men in the United States alone, and 33 million of them have already had a PSA test, sometimes without their knowledge during routine physicals. The task force recommendations are followed by most medical groups. 2 years ago, the task force recommended that women in their 40s should no longer get a routine mammogram, setting off a firestorm of controversy. The recommendations to avoid PSA test is even more forceful and applies to healthy men of all ages. Unfortunately, the evidence now shows that this test does not save men's lives, said Dr. Virginia Moyer, a professor of pediatrics at Baylor's College of Medicine and chairwoman of the task force. This test cannot tell the difference between cancers that will and will not affect man during his natural lifetime. We need to find one that does. And in sports, Yankees exit October as Tigers prevail in decisive Game 5. When the Yankees went into spring training in February, they took with them their annual goal of winning the World Series, even if many outside the team did not share that expectation. The Yankees had missed out on signing the free agent pitcher Cliff Lee, and they carried serious concern about their pitching rotation and the age of some of their core players. As the season progressed and many of the questions were answered, the Yankees ended up with the best record in the American League, stoking fans' hopes that a 28th World Series championship was in the offing. As the season progressed and many of the questions were answered, the Yankees ended up with the best record in the American League, stoking fans' hopes that a 28th World Series championship was in the offing. But with a shocking finality, the Yankees were dumped out of the postseason in the first round Thursday, losing to the Detroit Tigers 3-2 in Game 5 of their division series in front of the crowd of 50,960 at Yankee Stadium, most of whom were stunned into gloomy silence. The normally prolific Yankees hitters collected 10 hits but stranded 11 runners on base, including when they left the bases loaded twice. And now, before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, we'll repeat the main points. Nobel Peace Prize shared between 3 women. With time running short, Jobs managed his farewells. Detecting a Thaw in Myanmar, US aims to encourage change. Hamid Karzai admits Afghanistan's security failure. Libya NTC interim forces launch Sirte attack. India launches Aakash tablet computer priced at $35. And there we close today's bulletin of news analysis. You should be with us every week whenever news analysis is shown. Thank you.